self-evident. All men and women created by so you know the thing.
Walked in this place and said, wow, this is a huge dome. Bozeman's got it all right.
Stage 2.
Go.
Flight directors, go for launch. We have liftoff. Vehicles pitching downrange. Max Q. Vehicle supersonic. State separation.
You guys know what this represents? Well, it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storming?
The calm before the storm. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Give us a hint on your answer.
Thank you, everybody.
The calm before the storm. Good evening, everybody. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. Welcome to the Just Our Take show. Welcome to episode number 77. I am your host, John, and this is my co-host, Dave. How you doing, Dave? Been a while, huh?
It's too long. Even day I'm like, is it Sunday yet? Yeah.
Well, I was out sick our last Sunday show, and then Wednesday, of course, was Christmas. So it's been a while, and we've missed you. I did post something. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at it based on the numbers. Probably not. I posted a video from 1975 of a then unemployed or semi-unemployed Ronald Reagan, who had not yet announced his run for presidency, and he did an interview with Johnny Carson. It was a really fun interview. If you get a chance, go back and take a look at it.
And actually, I've seen bits and pieces of that many times over the years. It's really good. And it holds up really well. Turns out he was right. He's right about a lot of things.
He's right about a lot of things, and I think that you will find something in there that he was absolutely not right of, and I don't remember it at the time. Don't want to give you a hint, but yeah, if you guys find it, you'll, based on knowing us and knowing how we feel about certain things and agencies, it might be interesting to hear your take on it. But we have a big show tonight. It's been so long. There's a lot going on, and man, oh man, are we getting closer to that storm or what?
And it seems like every day something comes up. Am I muted?
No, I hear you.
Oh, okay, good. I was going to say, I thought your lips were moving. I didn't hear any sound coming out of your mouth. I thought, are you making fun of me right now? And then I wonder, is this a distraction, or did that happen because, we had friendly fire and lost a couple of our fighter jets? Really? We lost. These people are like the best pilots in the world, in the galaxy, and we lost 2 of them to friendly fire. Is that a distraction? No, it's just bad, just bad stuff. I'll let you talk on that as a Navy guy. I'm sure you have a stronger opinion.
Yeah, it wasn't the pilot's fault. It wasn't the pilot's fault at all. It was the people on board the ship that shot them down. And I would create a bit of a ruckus if I said that I think it's because they started hiring for DEI, but that's what I think. Anyways, lots of those little things happening. And then there's some big ones, and I love the subjects tonight. Deep state, try to use the 14th Amendment to keep Trump from being the certified winner of the 2024 election. And there is so much going on right now about that. You're talking about I saw that there's still plane loads, or at least a plane full of people being brought into the U.S. from other countries, which I thought all that nonsense was stopped. I saw also, our current administration was told they can't keep selling off the materials to build the wall. I'm afraid that some people don't know what a Wizzo is.
I don't know what a Wizzo is.
Oh, come on. Go back and watch Top Gun again. Hey, David, it's time for your disclaimer, and then we can get right into the show.
My disclaimer. It's called Just Our Take. And the reason why is this is just our point of view. You may or may not agree, and that's fine with us. If you agree, great. That's awesome. We'd love to hear from you in the comment section. If you disagree, that's okay too. We'd love to hear from you in the comment section. If you think we've missed something, or you want to help, you want to educate us, please feel free to comment. We're here to learn, but this is our opinion. It's just our opinion.
And if you don't like us, you can go ahead and comment down below. You can also hit that like button. If you do like us, hit the thumbs up, no matter what platform you're listening to. I have 2 quick little reminders first. First of all, our friend Pat from the show, our friend of the show, Pat, went out and she texted a whole bunch of her friends a link to the show tonight. So if you're here on Pat's recommendation, we truly hope that we live up to her recommendation. Her word carries some weight, and we appreciate you, Pat, for sending the word out there. And again, hope we live up to her recommendation. Also, our show tonight is sponsored by Steel Rebel Design. Steel Rebel Design creates all the hats, shirts, hoodies, cups, mugs, you name it. They do it for us, all the merch. So if you'd like to get some Just Our Take merch, down below, there's a link that says merch. Click on that. That'll take you to the hats and shirts. You can also get a message over to Kim, and she's working on getting that dark MAGA hat done. We're doing some perfecting on it. We're doing a dark MAGA hat, which is black on black. Those right now, they're going to be flex fit, but we're also going to do a trucker fit style. And she came to me the other day with another idea, and I love it. We're going to do white on white MAGA. So look forward to that coming as well. But Steel Rebel Design, Kim and company over there, they do a great job, and we love that they are the primary sponsor of the Just Our Take show. Thanks, Kim.
And by the way, I am appropriately dressed. I just want to point that out.
I just want to point out one thing over here.
On air.
Mrs. John, see that right there where that is? Mrs. John gave me a new addition to the show. Might be hard for you to see, so you might have to zoom in, but it is a Trump bobblehead post.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
Post Pennsylvania shooting. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure that got on the show tonight. Hey, so this whole January 6th thing, we're coming up on it. We're only a handful of days away, and they being the deep state folks, think that they're going to keep Donald Trump from becoming president. What do you say we jump into it?
Let's do it. I thought you were going to talk about our friend Jimmy first, but let's talk about it.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. You're absolutely right.
We had the passing.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was going to say we have the passing of. No, I'm going to say it. with the
You should say
passing of Jimmy Carter. It's for some, they really thought of him as a great president. I think economically he struggled quite a bit, and so did our country under his leadership. But everything he did after he left office until his death, I think he was a great citizen of society in terms of Habitat for Humanity and some of the other philanthropic things that he actually did with his life post office. I got to give him a lot of credit. Anyways,
I'll read Donald Trump put out a truth tonight. President Jimmy Carter is dead at 100 years of age. While I strongly disagreed with him philosophically and politically, I also realize that he truly loved and respected our country and all it stands for. He worked hard to make America a better place, and for that I give him the highest respect. He was truly a good man and, of course, will be greatly missed. He was also a consequential far more than most presidents after he left the Oval Office. Warmest condolences from Melania and I and his wonderful family. And I have to agree, I was not a fan of him as a president. However, the things that he did out of office, Habitat for Humanity, among others, are unmatched by any other post-presidential time frame. So, our condolences to the entire Carter family, and we will give it the reverence that it is due tonight. Although we did make a couple of comments prior in prior shows, so that don't let that.
And the picture that I found was not of the one where he was going out to vote. I didn't use that one out of respect for him and his family.
Marie says, great humanitarian for sure. I agree. Great and gentle man. I agree. I served under both Carter and Reagan during my time in. So, okay. So now let's go on to.
Are you gonna show Mr. Raskin first?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's jump into
Constitution
that.
can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring that.
So the rampaging mobs of Trump supporters are going to cause them to need bodyguards, and we're going into a civil war stance.
Yeah. I mean, why would you need that if what you were doing, if that's what America wanted? Why would you need that? Why would the thought even come to mind? What are you afraid of?
Are they not doing exactly what they're accusing Donald Trump of?
It is exactly what they accuse Trump of. What they accuse every Republican leader. I even hate using the word Republican because I think it's kind of evolved. But every single leader worth being in their seat, when they win, they won because of, and then they cheated or this or that, or we have to make them unqualified, and when they lose and they say, I think there was some irregularities in the counting. Oh, there we go, election denier. And now you're an insurrectionist because you're rabbling the rebel crowds. Anyways.
So Marie says, do we honestly think that they will try it? I'm just taking Jamie Raskin at his word. He said they are going to. He said they are absolutely going to on January 6th. They're going to say that he is disqualified to be president. Now, here's the biggest concern I have. If they really thought that he was disqualified due to Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which is a stretch. It is a stretch, and I know that you've got some information on the 14th Amendment I'd like you to bring up. But if they thought that, why didn't they keep him from running? Well, right now, what they've done is they've put us into a position where there is no solution. It's not as if they can keep Donald Trump from being president, it's not as if Kamala Harris goes in. That's not what happens.
No, and to your point, why didn't they take action any point in time over the last 3 years if they felt like that, if they had a case that was strong enough? And by the way, at one point they had control over Congress. Well, why not execute those, make the decision then? They didn't. So
they did try. They did try, and that was Colorado by keeping him off the ballot. And that went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, sorry, based on the evidence brought before us, not only no, but heck no. And all of those J6ers that you've got locked up, that you're holding them for insurrection, none of them been charged for insurrection. You need to let them all go or recharge them.
Right, with something else. Okay, so I'm going to show you this video. Now I wanted to show a good, clear, crisp explanation of what it is that Raskin is proposing. But I want you to know, John, well, I'll ask you. You tell me after you watch this video, when do you think this aired? Is this a recent video, or, you know, how long has this been out?
This indictment news, people on social media have been sharing their thoughts and theories on the case.
Abby Larico joins us now to verify if the former president is uniquely impacted by a specific section of the Constitution. Abby, good morning.
Hey, ladies, good morning to you both. Lots to talk about with everything that came down yesterday. Well, Article 2 of the Constitution lists only 3 qualifications for the presidency and does not ban someone from office for being charged with or convicted of a crime. But now the 14th Amendment is getting some attention for possibly prohibiting Donald Trump from becoming president again. So does it? Let's verify. Our sources are the 14th Amendment, Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, and 2 constitutional law experts. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, casually known as the Insurrection Clause, gives Congress the power to ban public officials from holding office if they have engaged in insurrection or rebellion. Our legal experts lay out 3 points to keep in mind. First, Congress would need to find him guilty of engaging in an insurrection. Next, the Supreme Court would need to rule on whether the president classifies as an officer of the United States. That's because the 14th Amendment mentions state lawmakers and members of Congress, but not presidents. And in a 2010 Supreme Court case, Chief Justice John Roberts said that since presidents are elected, not appointed, they don't count as officers of the United States. Finally, even if the Supreme Court reverses course and Congress finds him guilty of insurrection, if reelected, the former president could serve again if 2/3 of each house chooses to let him.
And I'll just pause it there. By the way, I love the picture of the people fighting with the gate, you know, just like, let's throw that in there. So when did this video air?
Yesterday.
Right. Because you would think like this is brand new concept. This is 1 year ago. And that's to the point we're making a few seconds ago. If in fact they had a legal case, they felt like they would have brought it up at any point in the last year, disqualify him. He would have had to drop out. He's no longer in the running. And then they could have easily slipped Biden in or anybody else in for the next 4 years. But they could not, so they didn't. And now what? Going to try to bring it up at the wire right now? I don't think it has any level of success.
There's a lot of things that have to happen first, not the least of which you have to prove that there was an insurrection. And you also have to prove that that insurrection was caused by or fueled by Donald Trump's actions. And that has already been ruled on by the Supreme Court. They said that nothing he said would rise to the level of insurrection. So I think it's going to be a tough road. And that's where Jamie Raskin was upset, because he is upset at the Supreme Court for not seeing things the way he did. Now, of course, if they had voted in his favor, they would have said the Supreme Court's the most genius, body on the planet.
Right.
Right.
They're so great.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're the best.
I do have I don't know that we need it, but I also have queued up is Trump saying, "You got to go home now." If you wanted a reminder, here, I'll do it as a reminder. Everyone needs a reminder. For the people that think he said, "Go burn down the Capitol." Here's what he actually said.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel, but go home and go home in peace.
Just in case you need a reminder, that's what he said. And from there, it's like, oh, he was encouraging everyone to break in and insurrection. It's not, it is going to, I don't know how much of a distraction it becomes, but.
So as of yet, SCOTUS is not looking at this in particular. SCOTUS did look at the Colorado case, which Colorado Secretary of State was trying to keep Trump off the ballot. And the reason was because he was an insurrectionist and not eligible because of the 14th Amendment, Section 3 or Article 3 of the 14th Amendment. I do see this going back to the Supreme Court if they try to pull this. That could be the storm. The storm could be on the 6th. There is an absolute all-out, craziness thing going on here. But they're going to try a lot of things, not the least of which, if that one doesn't work, let me pull up this other fun little video here. Sorry. Here you go. So if they can't make that one work, they're going to try this.
Begin with the 119th Congress, which opens on Friday. Up first, voting for a House Speaker. Mike Johnson needs at least 218 members to vote for him when Congress starts. It will be 219 Republicans to 215 Democrats. As Fox News senior congressional correspondent Chad Pergram points out, quote, the House absolutely, unequivocally cannot do anything until it elects a speaker, period. This also means that the House cannot certify the results of the Electoral College, making Trump the 47th president of the United States on January 6th. What happens if the Electoral College isn't sorted out by January 20th? Well, President Biden is done. So he's gone. The same with Harris. Next in the presidential line of succession is the Speaker of the House. Well, there's no speaker. So who becomes the president? If the House is still frittering away time trying to elect a speaker on January 20, President pro tem of the Senate, Chuck Grassley, likely becomes president.
Uh-oh.
I mean, come on.
So you heard the numbers. They need 218 votes. There's only 219 Republicans. The Republicans are really good at circular firing squads, shooting at each other, shooting inward when things get tough, as opposed to the Democrats always get in lockstep. They rarely break ranks. The only one who was noted for doing that was Manchin, but I think Manchin's gone now. So what do you do now?
Well, and every time AOC tried to break ranks, they snapped her right back into look, you idiot. This is the line you say.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
The omnibus bills that were just put before Congress and the first one and Mike comes out and supports it. I think that was a bad move, a very bad move. He should have immediately said, absolutely not. No way in hell. Get this thing off the desk. I will not bring this to the floor. You may not bring this to the floor. You are out of your effing, ever-loving effing minds. But because he allowed it to come to the floor, there are some people that believe that he is as reckless and out of control as the rest of the Democrats who brought that nonsense. And I think that was a mistake.
I know you do, and I keep going back to Donald Trump gave him the green light to do that.
Yeah, but
why? Because right before, you know what? There's always so many plans that we don't know of, but I do know that Donald Trump, right before and right after, gave blessings, and he has not wavered in his support for Mike Johnson. So unless he's just trying to play it off, which I don't think, I think that there's something else going on. Maybe this is the calm before the storm.
Here's the one explanation that crossed my mind is, what better way to expose this nonsense than to actually allow it to come to the floor so that all of the US and anyone paying attention around the world can see what garbage that these politicians are shoving in this bill to steal from taxpayers. That could be that's the one thing that crossed my mind. Otherwise, no one gets to see it, right? Because if it never comes forward, no one knows just what crap is in there. So that's the one thing. But then he should have said that, for America's sake, I want you to see the pork that's in this bill and how these people are trying to steal and pick your pockets. That's not what he said.
I think that I think there's something bigger going on, and if Donald Trump wasn't happy, we'd all know it.
We would all know it. Yeah, he'd be much. Let me ask you a question. I haven't looked, but how does Marjorie Taylor Greene feel about Mike today? She wasn't a fan before.
No, and I think that she's probably going to still play her role. Pat says, remember, Trump is a master chess player, and he plays on a different level than other folks do. So I agree with that. Yep. I don't know, and I could be wrong. We could be. Listen, it's going to happen in just a few days. There's going to be, on Friday, there's going to be a vote, and we're going to know on Friday if it's quick, one vote in and out. That's it. We know what's happening,
and we know who can't. And we know who can't stop it. The vice president, because didn't Congress pass some rules in the last couple of years saying the vice president no longer can object to or it's not object, there's another word for it, but they can't stop the proceedings the way that they could prior.
Right. And by the way, that's next Tuesday is that big event. This Friday is only the 3rd. The 6th is on Tuesday. So, but yeah, listen, there's a lot of fireworks ahead. It's going to be interesting. All I'm going to say is buckle up, because here it comes. Right.
I'm just like, I can't even imagine going from here, like every single day. It's just going to be, and by the way, in the background, I don't know if you have been, I know there's like this, all the different plots. And then one plot that's just kind of humming around, just continuing to move forward, is this P. Diddy one, which I don't know if you're going to get into that tonight. I don't see it.
Later. Yeah, it's later on.
Okay, I'll save it then. But anyways, that continues to move forward in the background. So here, will we be able to actually complete the selection process and peacefully transfer of power or not? Anyways, okay.
This goes back to the ugliest, I should say, at the time, the ugliest, which was Gore v. Bush and, the hanging chads. My understanding was, all that was theatrics because it was already done. The decision had already been made. The Supreme Court really didn't have an overall ruling in that. It was already done. That the rest of it was theatrics and trying to clarify some things, but because I guess it was already said and done and certified. And in this one, if we don't have a speaker, which they've talked about that before, they've talked about, you could end up without a speaker on that day, and they can't do anything until there is a speaker. That could be the mess, and that could be a real mess. Now, there's a whole bunch of other things they're trying to do, and we can talk about those after, because I'm going to assume somehow, by the grace of God, we're going to get through, and Donald Trump is going to have his first day. And on that first day, well, let's just take a look at what he's thinking about doing on day one.
Let's do it.
Hang on. It's got to come up here. Scott, hurry up. There you go.
Come on, Scott.
This.
Earn your keep.
President-elect Trump has big plans for day one of his new administration. He's promised to get a lot of things done next year, and among them are closing our southern border, deporting illegal migrants, and EV mandates, and increasing energy production. It's a lot to do, but which of these will he do on day one? We have a few guesses. Here's Trump on his plans for next year.
On my first day back in the Oval Office, I will sign a historic slate of executive orders to close our border to illegal aliens and stop the invasion of our country. And on that same day, we will begin the largest deportation operation in American history. I will sign day one orders to end all Biden restrictions on energy production, terminate his insane electric vehicle mandate, cancel his natural gas export ban.
So big plans for day one and for his entire term. But I want to start with this, Tommy. I spoke with Tom Homan last week, and there was this NBC report that was floating around about Trump preparing 5 executive orders on illegal immigration, which would be significant. That would be more than all executive orders he did on day one last term. So I asked Tom Homan, is it going to be 5? And here's what he said.
And more than 5, more than 3, there's going to be many. We can't have strong national security if we don't have border security. So there's going to be some executive orders signed on day one. At the same time he's signing those executive orders, we got ICE officers across the country going to start. They're going to be hitting the streets looking for criminal illegal aliens. At the same, we'll be putting ending catch release day one. At the same day, we're also going to be looking for over 340,000 missing children.
They're ready to go, Tommy.
They're ready to go because they have to be, Kaylee. I mean, this is the mandate from the American people. I do believe that Donald Trump won in the economy, but I think he also won on the border and restoring border security and national security. And I think they've got a lot of work to do because the last 4 years, the floodgates have been opened. You can't allow 10 million plus people, largely unvetted, into a country and then expect Donald Trump to sit on his thumbs in his first days in office. He's got a lot of work to do, and it's going to take much of the next 4 years for him to get that done because the damage has been so severe to this country with the open borders.
I really love that Homan put that there, that they're going to be looking for 340,000 missing children. People forget that part. They forget that part, and that can't be forgotten. They have to find those folks, those kids, and you know, there is so much bad and evil going on at that border. It needs to be shut down. I like that they have stopped the sale of the supplies or the materials to build the wall. That's a good thing.
Yeah, all of a sudden, what do you mean I can't sell off the border wall materials before Trump takes office? That just seems wrong. No, you can't do that. Find the children. I agree. Unbelievable. And yes, that's where their heart should be. There was, I didn't bring it for tonight, but there was an arrest just made where a person who was here illegally was kidnapping a 14-year-old girl, and it was classic signs of taking her into the trade. Unbelievable.
So Roger's comment is interesting. I just want to touch this real quick.
Yeah.
I hope the jails are already full for deportation. The problem with that, and I agree with you, but the problem with that is that these sanctuary cities are saying they will not comply with ICE and let them know who's in their jail, nor will they let them have access to those people that they have in their jails. So these people are going to defy federal law and get in the way of these ICE agents. This is, again, one of those areas that it's going to be a showdown.
Yep. And when the first mayor, the first governor, the first district attorney, somebody's going to get arrested on federal charges. And we'll just see how courageous the rest of them are. By the way, there's some people who are, there's two other things that are coming up over and over and over again. It's going to cost $86 billion to deport all these people. Is that really how you want to spend America's taxpayers' money? Like, you're worried about what it's going to cost to deport them. It cost over $200 billion so far that we've spent in this mess. And you're worried about spending aid. How about we stop giving aid to Ukraine for a year, and we'll be able to fund this without any issues whatsoever. The second argument that keeps coming up over and over, and they're serious when they're making this argument, we're going to have to rebuild places like North Carolina after these devastating floods. And where are we going to find the labor to do that? You know, we need these people because we need laborers. And all I can think of is, first off, that's incredibly bigoted. You're a bigot. Secondly, it's like saying I need, and I know they're not slaves, but I need that lowest of the low labor to come in.
Migrant workers. There's nothing wrong with it. And by the way, there is a visa program for migrant workers.
Yes, and that exists, and it's great, and it's good for them, and it's good for us. But the way that they talk about it, like, oh, if we send them back, we're going to lose all this labor. Who's going to want to do these jobs?
Yeah.
Okay.
So another thing is on that, there was a time where they were saying you need to make them all U.S. citizens. All these laborers, you need to make them citizens. First of all, there's a lot of them that don't want to be citizens. The whole term of migrant workers, there is a group of people, and I won't even begin to guess how many, but there's a bunch that come to America just to pick the crops, and then they go back home. They send money back home while they're doing it. It's kind of like a well, I almost said something that would have sounded disparaging, and I didn't want to be that way. But anyway, the problem is if you make them legal residents and U.S. citizens, now you pay them the prevailing wage, which means you could have lettuce pickers making $35 an hour. What do you think that's going to do to the cost of your lettuce?
You know what, John? This is where I feel like they should be paid a fair wage for the job they're doing. Now, fair means let the free market determine what that job should be paid. I get that there should be some sort of there will be some sort of a federal floor, right? Whatever minimum wage is. But beyond that, if there's 10,000 people for 50 jobs, then the wages are probably going to reflect that. And so you're not going to get paid $100 an hour to go pick strawberries. That's the way it is. So, but I also don't think that it's fair to pay them less money.
Let me just tell you, if it becomes unionized, you will pay what the prevailing wage is.
Yeah, I don't think it should be unionized either.
I know, but you won't have it. You will not have a say in that.
I will be growing my own lettuce.
There already is a program, and that is the immigrant workers visas. They have those.
Right.
They work well, and there's no reason. It is all a red herring when they say, if we send them all back, then there's not going to be anybody. That's not true. There are legal people here that come in legally, do their work, and then they leave. So the good Texan, I think that's what it is. There was a recent big group who are here only for the benefits. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, here's your card, here's your phone, here's your housing. By the way, you get $600 each for housing. There's a lot of things that we're doing very wrong. And David said earlier, he talked about the plane loads of people coming in.
Yeah.
That is 100% true. There still are today. I saw a whole bunch of these flights coming in from South America and other places, some even from the Middle East. They're flying them in using commercial airlines. And I'm not talking about commercial as in Delta, although Eastern is, by the way. Coletta Air is one of them. And they're bringing these people in, and they're flying them mostly to areas like Las Vegas. They're flying them into LA. There are some going into Seattle, by the way, Dave, and Spokane. Spokane was another big hub.
Not surprised.
But yeah, I mean, I think it was Chapitz that said, why is he trying to burn it down on his way out? They really are trying to burn it down on the way out.
Exactly. I am going to give a peaceful transfer of power. But by the way, did I mention everything's going to be on fire? I'm going to try to start the world war. I'm going to try to bring as many people here. I'm going to, by the way, go ahead and commute the sentences for 1,500 people, some of whom are your worst nightmare predators. And I'm going to do all this in my last few days of office. Dude, just go to the beach, take a nap. Kamala's already checked out. Why can't you do the same thing? Look, you haven't been around for real. You've been the absentee father. You haven't been around for real for, I don't know, months, if not a couple of years. Why pull these strings now?
Well, I'm going to drop this bomb right here because I can. General Flynn said last week, what happens to all of these pardons and programs if it's proven that Joe Biden stole the election? Just going to drop that one right there because there is still a case before the Supreme Court that has not been ruled on. My prediction is it will come shortly after the 20th. So as to not create a constitutional crisis. And if that happens, they're going to unwind an awful lot of things. I say, let's get into, there's another thing. I don't know if you guys saw, I think it was Fox and Friends this morning. Comer came out and was talking about some investigations. Let's take a look at this. By the way, all these things are coming out at the very end. Like, do you remember when Joe Biden said, I never knew anything about my son's business? Never, ever, never did I introduce him to anybody. Well,
smartest man in the world. I never knew anything about his business.
Never.
The things the Oversight Committee has is jurisdiction on so many of these scandals that are going on. As you look down the agenda here, and I should mention, you've got a new book coming out, and I'm excited about this. All the President's Money comes out, where you're going to go back and look at what Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and that flow of money that was coming through. That is one thing that you'll probably continue to follow through on. But what are some of the other key investigations that the Oversight Committee is prioritizing going into the 119th Congress?
From an investigation standpoint, we need to hold people accountable. And you look at, with respect to what's come out this week, with the pictures that the National Archives never would release, that show that Joe Biden lied. He did, in fact, introduce his son to all these Chinese people. Joe Biden did, in fact, meet with all these Chinese people that were wiring his family millions of dollars for mysterious reasons. And we knew it, and I think the American people with common sense knew it. But what's most troubling, Jason, is how many people in the federal government knew that Joe Biden was lying when he said he didn't know why his family was getting all that money, when he said he never met with any of these people. The CIA knew, the IRS knew, the FBI knew. They need to be held accountable. The National Archives, not only have they sat on those pictures and they were only released because of a lawsuit, they also never have released the pseudonym emails. This agency will be brought in front of the House Oversight Committee, and they're going to have to explain themselves as to why they obstructed our investigation. I want to work with Kash Patel. I want to work with with all the new Trump cabinet secretaries where we can hold the deep state actors accountable, because the American people have lost confidence in the government. And I think what role oversight will play in this new administration is trying to drain the swamp, and that's going to begin by getting these federal bureaucrats who have abused their power. They're unelected. They've not been held accountable. No one's overseen them. There are no checks and balances, and bring them in and try to get them, at the very least, terminated, and try to get reforms in place to where this can never happen again, and the American people can begin to have confidence in their government agencies again.
Yeah, most people, I think, don't realize that, or at least the allegation is that Joe Biden was using a pseudonym, as you talked about, a fake name, to be able to communicate, which violates and bypasses the Federal Records Act.
Oh, so at the very end there, it just got cut off. Joe Biden, along with many others, by the way, I don't know if you remember, I know that Barack Obama was using a pseudonym in a separate email, along with Hillary Clinton was using a pseudonym in a hidden email or a non-governmental email. Yeah, I'm telling you, there's a lot of things coming. And let me just toss this one up here. Good one. Where has our GOP been? Congress in general have an 8% approval rating in America. 100% agree. You know what? I am an equal opportunity slammer, and both sides right now need to be slammed. They've been completely, listen, we talk about it on our show all the time. These people forget that they work for us, and it's time that we remind them they work for us.
Yeah. Look, I'm sure it's easier to say this, armchair quarterback and all, but Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio, and there's, dozens of others. How about you just say, we're not going to vote on one more issue until we solve these things first. Here's our priority list. Nothing moves forward, nothing. And in Congress, no bill moves forward. We're not voting on anything, nothing, until we get to the bottom of these. Take three things. The list has probably got hundreds of line items on it. Just pick the top three and then work your way down.
I got a couple more for you. Here's a couple more that they need to be doing. Here you go. Comer again.
Well, Congressman, I should say chairman. I used to chair that committee. You chair it now. You have jurisdiction over the federal workforce. Now, there have been a lot of allegations that the Biden administration has tried to Trump-proof, if you will, this administration by, striking deals so that federal workers don't have to come back to work. They can telework and do things like that. What are you going to do? What are you seeing? What are you worried about with the federal workforce and their ability to come in and do the job that the American taxpayers are paying for?
Well, you're exactly right. And I've said this many times publicly. Joe Biden's trying to burn it down on the way out. With respect to the federal workforce, every hardworking, tax-paying American who works in the private sector is appalled that such a high percentage of the federal workers aren't showing up for work. They're working from home. We have a bill that we passed out of the House last Congress. Of course, the Democrat Senate wouldn't take it up. We'll pass it out again this Congress, hopefully in the first 2 weeks of this Congress, called the Show Up Act, that will require the federal workers to go back to work. And I strongly support DOGE, my committee, the House Oversight Committee, your old committee, Jason. We're going to work closely with Elon Musk and Ramaswamy, and we're going to try to make the federal government more efficient. I think we have too many federal employees. There are too many duplicative services being performed by too many federal employees. There are too many federal employees who aren't showing up for work. Their productivity has gone down even below what the low standards of government employees' productivity is to begin with. And it's gonna start by bringing them back to work, trying to figure out what they do, and just trying to get the backs of the taxpayers and make government more efficient.
100%. And you know, it's just sickening. What was the number? 96% of federal employees are working remote.
Well, that's we did hear that stat, and it's been repeated a lot of times. But yes,
Even if it's 40, who cares?
I was going to say, I was going to make the same comment. If half of them are working remote, imagine. Now, I work in a situation where many of the people I work with are remote. Now, some people who've worked remote their entire life, they're really good at it. You feel their presence, you feel the quality of their work, you can see the output, and you know they're doing it. You know they're working. And then there are others who started where they were in the office most of the time, and then COVID happened, and then they moved, and now they work in remote locations. You don't feel their presence. You don't see the output of their work. It's just gotten weaker and weaker over time. And, you know, I'd hate to see the company make some kind of mandate to flip it and force people to come back in like some of the other tech companies have done recently. But at the same time, the output, the productivity, the actual impact on the business has declined dramatically. And in the government's case, they've added lots and lots of government jobs, and the productivity has gone down. All these empty buildings. I mean, just it's waste, and that's our taxpayer dollars, and we have to reclaim that.
Yeah, well, I would bet that a lot of these federal employees that are working from home actually get a food stipend so that they can eat while they're at home, because, you know, they're not at work to take advantage of all of that free food they got at work. But you know what Comer said, and this is kind of the difficult to measure, and that is the collaborative issues. If you're not there face to face, having those meetings side by side, look, Zoom is great, Teams is great. Those are awesome ways to have a quick meeting. They don't replace the side by side, let's go have a coffee in the break room kind of conversations.
Yeah.
And the amount of collaboration that's not happening because of it, the American people are not getting their money's worth. Here's the other thing. I think that having Elon Musk and Ramaswamy leading up Doge, Musk already proved that you can cut a business by 80% and still run efficiently. And how many of those people were working remotely? A ton of them were working remotely.
Right.
I also know that big companies have recently, I think the most recent I saw was oh gosh, was it I forgot, that they're basically saying everyone has to come back to the office starting January 1st. Might have been Walmart, might have been Microsoft, I don't remember, but there was a large company that said, everybody, you have to start reporting to the office or you're going to lose your job. I think that
Amazon's been in the news a lot lately. It could be Amazon. They started by saying got to be back 3 days a week, and now I think it's 5 days a week. You got to be back in the office. I think Google's got some stronger policy. Walmart actually moved to that stronger policy a few months back. There's a few other larger companies that have done the same thing. They're just done. They're just done with it. People who are taking advantage of that, meaning I live within the vicinity of the office, but I don't ever want to go back into the office again. You should consider
retirement.
Or look, again, I like the flexibility I have when I need it. I'm glad it's there for me. I don't abuse it. And I hope that people would be as respectful and thoughtful. But anyways, government, 96% is the number that's been floated. What do you do? What exactly do you do here anyways? Maybe it's time to find out.
Well, and the other point that Comer made was all of those office buildings that are going unmanned, but we're still paying all of the facilities fees on that building.
Leases or
total waste. And I'm looking forward to Doge coming in and cleaning all of that up and removing a lot of the duplicative jobs. Let's talk about January 20th. we started going down that road, January 20th. It got a little bit sidetracked. That does happen. Dave, you and I have a list. Let's just go down and if you'd like to start, I can go next, and we'll just go every other one on the list that we have. And this is not an all-inclusive list. This is a mostly inclusive list.
Well, I'll start with the top one. We've already talked a little bit about this, but the State Department can't get the words out. Start deportation operations immediately. And by the way, just again, it's criminals first, which I am 100% in favor of, and then find the children. And
since everyone that's here illegally broke the law, that fits. Ban trans from the military. Now, this is an important piece here. So what he's not doing is going back to pre-Obama days where it was don't ask, don't tell. He's not saying that gays and alternative lifestyles cannot be in the military. What he's saying is that this whole trans thing is a huge distraction, not just to the troops itself, but also from a medical standpoint, and that this does not increase the lethality of our troops. So banning trans in the military is going to happen day one.
Increased drilling for gas and oil. And I want to say drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
That will bring more supply onto the market, which will have an immediate impact on pricing, because the more supply you have, if your demand, by the way, our demand's been declining a little bit in this last year because our economy has been kind of pulling back a little bit. Yeah, we need a Wario ethos back. Absolutely. Okay, drill, baby, drill. What's next?
Yeah, remove DEI from all government agencies. This interesting thing here is there's a lot of companies that are they're making the move away from DEI. They're abandoning their old DEI programs. However, I don't know if you saw this in the news. Costco their board just voted that they're going to keep their DEI programs in place, and they had a rash of people that turned in their Costco cards.
Wow. There is a way to do it gracefully, and that's the difference. You can do it gracefully where you talk about inclusivity, which, by the way, there's a lot to learn about that. It doesn't mean necessarily that you start to have quota systems for different jobs. And I mean, you just have to be thoughtful about it, but helping people be more aware and more sensitive to other people's differences, I think, is a good thing. But yes, many companies have moved away from some of the hardcore DEI policies that have been heavily criticized. Exit the World Health Organization. And this is another one that people will just lose their mind. Oh, you're going to leave the World Health Organization. What do you think? You're smarter than, you know what? They've made some really bad decisions, and they continue to want more and more power. They want the World Health Organization is formally asked the U.S. to bend the knee and allow them to actually, the World Health Organization, to make decisions about whether or not we can move about our own country. I say, good, exit the World Health Organization. And if a new World Health Organization is born out of the midst of some ceremonial fire, great, then maybe we can reconsider it. But right now, the WHO is not our friend.
So just to be clear, they didn't ask us. They put together a treaty that they want us to become a party to, which would give them dominion over our country, which again, constitutionally doesn't stand, but it doesn't stand muster. But the fact is, that's what they want. The other thing is, the United States pays 80% of all of the fees for the WHO, and China is basically the ones who run the WHO. They give all the directives. Everybody else kowtows to China as they run the WHO. There's a whole lot of reasons to get out, and I couldn't be happier. By the way, we had gotten out before, and Biden put us right back in.
Right. Okay. You're next.
Banning trans athletes from sports. This is going to be part of day one too, and this is going to be. I'm not sure how he makes this happen, but I think, if he says he's going to do it, I kind of believe that's going to happen.
Yeah, this is a hot topic, because you have people that are physically dominating, trans athletes that are physically dominant, and it's not just what they do on the playing field, but then it's also what happens off the playing field. And this is where some of the young women that have come forward, and specifically it's women's sports that are the ones that are in the spotlight. when they say they are not safe in the locker room, in the showers, off the court, and what they describe, the situations they describe themselves in, I could never allow that for my daughters or for my wife or for other. I just can't even imagine it, and I can't imagine how other people are okay with that. I do think, there will be a natural solution that comes out of this, and it'll be probably some open category for sports that allows.
Do your own thing. Do your own thing, but it is not okay to have male boxers beating up on women and destroying and crushing their orbital bones and saying, well, I won. Hoo-hoo. I just want to make a quick show disclaimer. Yes, I did say that Biden put us back in the WHO. For the purposes of the show, sometimes I'll talk about Trump. And what I mean is I truly believe that there's a large group of people that are backing Trump, supporting him, helping him. Ultimately, I do believe that Trump is in charge, but there's a huge group, and I don't think that he does everything on his own. I think he's got a whole bunch of people that have been, even before he became elected, supporting him and backing him. Same for Biden. Look, since we don't really know, we have a whole lot of speculation about who's pulling the puppet strings. I say Biden because that's the figurehead, and by the way, it's going to go down in history as his call. Back to the show. So,
okay, pardon J6ers.
Way over
immediately. And by the way, this is the only case where I think, at least temporarily, yes, the U.S. taxpayers need to make these people whole, and then there needs to be a true day of reckoning. Bring the J6 Inquisition team to court, try them, and if they're found guilty, in my opinion, their penalty should be for they and their families to confiscate their entire, all of their wealth, every single last penny. The only thing they get to keep is their underwear and socks. That's it. Otherwise, they have nothing. And you take that money and give it to the J6ers because they're the ones who actually had to sacrifice a portion of their life. They're at the time of their life because of these evildoers.
And you heard how they tried to insulate themselves in the omnibus bill and keep it so that we couldn't investigate them. What's that have to do with the continuing resolution? Nothing.
Yes. Oh, by the way, if you want money to run the country, you also have to agree never to come investigate us. Come on.
Don't look behind the curtain. There's nothing there. No. Next is he's going to, and these are all, listen, these all could happen by executive action or presidential orders. Presidential, what is it? Presidential executive order. So reverse Biden's climate policies. Now I'm already seeing people, it's so funny. I'm seeing people saying, oh, he can't do that. There's no way he can do that because most of these things have to go through a committee by the EPA. Let's go back to the Supreme Court ruling earlier this year called Chevron deference, where the EPA is basically stripped of their right to make policies that become law.
Yes. So EPA, you're out. I mean, thank you very much. We heard your opinion. Now sit down. Yes. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't look for ways to innovate, to create a lighter ecological footprint. Yes, we absolutely should. But should you be mandated to build windmills and solar farms when we know that that's not our number one issue?
I had an interesting discussion with a good friend of mine about windmills the other day. There's a contractor that is local to me that is he just got a deal to build a whole bunch of these windmill platforms. The amount of steel that goes into those would drive it. I'll try to. I saw a video and they showed actually them building up the rebar to make this platform. It is ridiculous. There's as much as the World Trade Center. That's an exaggeration, but unbelievable amounts of steel in these things. And, a good wind comes up and they snap halfway up the tower anyway. They have 600 gallons of oil in them that needs to be changed every year. Oh, wait, we're using
fossil fuels to create clean energy?
I mean, there's just so much wrong with it. But anyway, the fact that I know that California just said that I guess there was a bill that was signed that after 2035, it would be illegal to sell an internal combustion engine vehicle in California. These things are all going to get reversed, and
they are.
Yeah.
Washington too, by the way. All right.
But stop killing birds of prey. You're absolutely right. Those things absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of them, but the windmills do that.
we're going to cut federal funding to schools that teach critical race theory, even though they laugh quiet behind the scenes and say, we gave it a different name so we could say into the camera it wasn't critical race theory, but it actually was. Okay, enough of that. And I think one of the things that's not day one, but it's on his list, is to eliminate the Department of Education, the federal Department of Education, and let states figure things out going forward. And I hope that happens. But if you teach CRT, no more money.
That's a good
Yes.
one. 17 release the 17. What they did, release the $17 million and release the names of those who have used it. Which I think, listen, I believe 90% of the things that go on are an op, at least after the first of the year. I think this whole Matt Gaetz thing has been all an op to bring attention to exactly that, Marie, is all of the money that's being put aside by slush funds and everything else. Because, by the way, it's just so funny how Matt Gaetz had all of those arguments delineated. He had them all lined out. Oh, you say that I was at this party, but here are the gate records that they take a driver's license down for each person that enters. My name's not on there. He just happened to have all of those things available, which I thought was great. Next on his day one list, he's going to impose tariffs on imports from several countries, including a 25% tariff to Canada and Mexico for not helping to control the border. And that's not just through immigration, but also the import of illegal and illicit drugs. 60% tariff on China, plus an additional 10% for not curbing the illegal drug exports. Tariffs on the EU countries unless they increase U.S. energy imports.
Yeah, tariffs, the first two right away it's clear. Tariffs are there to change behavior, punishment to change behavior. The last one, if you don't buy energy from us, we're going to put tariffs on you. I don't know. Look, is that necessary? Is that necessary? Truly, it's.
We voted for.
I'm not. I vote. Yeah, I did. I voted for Trump. Hey, look, I accept that we're going to get some. I accept there will be things that I will not agree with, and probably more things that I will agree with that I disagree with. But on this point here, I scratch my head and say, is that a good idea, really? I get when you're trying to change the behavior of Mexico and Canada. And by the way, it's working. In Mexico, they've already had some record busts of fentanyl. So it's working, strangely enough. And Canada, we've already talked about what's his name down here begging Trump not to.
Trudeau.
Yeah, he's out. I mean, it's just a matter of weeks probably at this point. And then, of course, for China, the fentanyl is coming from China. Like that's been proved.
Roger tosses this one out. I love Roger. But Roger tosses this one out here. So I was going to talk about this. I just didn't have it as a note. So I just want to say, I'm not really sure what he's doing. Again, I know it's another op, but he wants to make Canada the 51st state.
Right.
He's talked about making Mexico a state as well. Oh, by the way, Governor Trudeau, Governor Trudeau, he says he wants to take over Greenland. What a great place. It would, you know what? We would treat our people so much better. And now he's talking about taking back the Panama Canal. I mean, I don't know what this is. Is it a distraction? Is he just trying to ruffle feathers? I don't know, but it's funny to watch.
What is the question? Is it change behavior, David, or consequences for their actions?
Both.
No, I think it's punishment. That is absolutely to change their behavior. It is to get Mexico to say, okay, we are going to enforce the border. We're going to enforce a border. We are going to enforce a border. We're actually going to try harder to keep the people trafficking, the drug trafficking, and allowing millions of people to stream across these borders. We're actually going to do our job now so that you don't cripple our economy. Canada, it's not that dissimilar. It's not that dissimilar. And all they got to do is say, okay, we're on board, and then do it. And then they can avoid the tariffs. So it is absolutely behavior.
I am under the belief that a lot of these tariffs are another way of keeping him from having to raise taxes on the rest of us as they're cleaning things up. And one thing that has not been talked about, and that is that, for all of Biden team, the Biden puppet crew, talking about how bad tariffs are, they didn't lift tariffs that Donald Trump had put in place on China.
That's right. They did not.
So,
and by the way, Argentina is actually doing quite well right now. Weird. And what did they do? They came in and says, we're going to balance this budget. Fired half the government or more as one of their steps. They said, what do you even do? Oh, you work here because you're related to so-and-so who told me I had to hire you because you're out. I mean, bold move. And maybe after Doge gets finished figuring out who's essential and who's not essential, then who knows? Maybe we can run our government with less than $4 or $5 trillion a year.
I'm gonna close out our list of things that he's going to do that we know of so far. There's probably going to be a whole lot more that we haven't thought of or that we haven't heard about yet. But I think that this is a good list, and I think that part of the reason he's doing this is kind of like when he put all of those cabinet candidates up there. He just started tossing bunches of them, so people don't know what to focus on. I think that's what he's doing with this day one thing. What are they going to file lawsuits on to stop us first, right? But the last thing on the list we have is, and I love this one, demand resignations for all involved in the terrible Afghanistan withdrawal.
Amen.
He's already said to them, you need to make sure that you have a letter on my desk, a letter of recommendation on my desk on January 20th at noon. And I love it.
I do too. You failed. You failed this country. You failed the people in that country that supported us. And you failed the men and women who were murdered that day and others that were injured. You failed us. And then, of course, there's an economic impact too. You failed, and you don't deserve to be in office or to have your position.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's kind of get going here because we're coming up on.
I know.
But there's so many things that I don't want to miss out on, and some other things that they're doing for distractions. Let me toss this one up here because I think you're going to like this. We haven't heard from this clown in a long time, so why not hear from him again? Did I call him a clown? I did. Hang on, let me get there. Sorry, it takes just a minute without our producer here. So usually our producer is right there hanging out.
Come on, Alex, get on it.
I thought it was Steve.
Steve, get on it.
Okay. And you're going to love seeing this guy's face. Yay.
Oh, come on.
The sobering news is that can change because the virus infects more than one species, and we know it can infect pigs. Pigs are on farms with chickens and with cows, and chickens and cows can infect with their virus a pig, and then a human virus can go into pig, and then you could get a reassortment of a virus that has some of the dangerous qualities of H5N1 and some of the capability of spreading from human to human of a human virus. So that's what public health officials are concerned about, that when you have the circulation of this virus in multiple species, including a mixing bowl species like a pig, you might get a reassortment and a mutation that could make this something we really have to be concerned about. And that's the reason why the CDC says, although currently the risk in general is low, we still have to pay close attention to the possibility that might change.
All right, so he went through some word salad there, and I think he said a lot of things to try to distract and confuse. I just want to know how exactly he thinks a human is going to infect a pig, because he said that.
That guy, one of the greatest grifters of all time. Okay. Bird flu is real, John. We got to be serious about this. I don't know if you remember. Let's see if I can add this person. Dr. Leo.
What I got. Go ahead.
Oh, you do?
Go ahead. Yeah,
we
do
need
it.
to hear from Dr. Leanna Wen. It's very important that we hear from her.
What should be happening in the Biden administration right now that isn't going on?
Yeah, there are two main things that they should be doing in the days that they have left. The first is to get testing out there. I feel like we should have learned our lesson from COVID that just because we aren't testing, it doesn't mean that the virus isn't there. It just means that we aren't looking for it. We should be having rapid tests, home tests available to all farm workers, to their families, for the clinicians taking care of them so that we aren't waiting for public labs and CDC labs to tell us what's bird flu or not. And the second very important thing is, this is not like the beginning of COVID where we were dealing with a new virus, we didn't have a vaccine. There actually is a vaccine developed already against H5N1.
Imagine that.
The Biden administration has contracted with the manufacturer.
I'm just going to say, just because no one is sick and just because no one is sick doesn't mean it's not out there. And we have vaccines to solve this.
We already have a vaccine for this.
Now, I don't
bird
need
flu.
to play the rest of this because basically for the next 2 minutes, she's going to repeat a lot of this. And asymptomatic people are carriers and on and on and on. Now, you might remember her because, by the way, she was an expert about COVID. Also, she was the president of Planned Parenthood at one point. And also, you might remember her from the Boston bombing because she was also there on TV at that time talking about those events as well. This person is just, it's just odd. She just pops up and these moments of need. You need this very like, I have credibility. I'm a doctor and mask up. By the way, one more comment and I'll shut up about her. She also is the one of the people initially who were saying, we need to prevent people that aren't vaccinated from flying or riding on trains because they're going to infect all of the other people who've had their vaccines. And if you don't believe me, I can link that video for you. But I'm like, this woman is insane.
Marie speaks for us all here. And
she speaks for me. Amen, Marie.
And the good Texan has a really good point here.
Oh my God. Yep. Yeah, right. Yep. I agree.
By the way, did you see they just came out with some of his memoirs, some of his papers. Apparently Fauci had floated a plan, no pun intended, to spray cities with vaccines from the air using drones or other low flying aircraft. He was going to spray vaccines from the air. And seeing what's happened with all of the vaccine injuries, the fact that he still believes that is just sickening. I got another fun one for you. Since we're going on the hit parade of people we love to hate.
Another one.
Atmosphere now is caused by the electricity grid, which is about 25% or so.
Exactly.
So 24%, it comes from agriculture and forestry. Why is that causing such a big increase in carbon?
Cows and other grass-eating species have a digestion system that emits methane. And methane is a very powerful greenhouse gas. And so cows alone account for about 6% of global emissions. And so we need to change cows, just cows alone.
How are we going to do that?
Well, actually, of all the categories, the one that has gone better than I would have expected 5 years ago is this work to make what's called artificial meat. And
what's called artificial meat. That's how he said it. Let me just show you something. Because everybody loves, oh wait, let me just let him finish his sentence because it's.
So you have people like Impossible or Beyond Meat, both of which I invested in.
You eat it as well and you like it?
Absolutely.
You do.
You can go to Burger King and buy the Impossible Burger.
All right. Is it healthier for you or just healthier for the atmosphere?
It's slightly healthier for you.
Hedging his bet. It's
slightly healthier.
Yeah, hang on a second. So during the scamdemic, my local grocery store was out of everything. I just happened to go take a video. Let's look.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Let's do it again.
What's that? I don't understand. John.
There's no food to eat There's no meat in the meat department, but guess what? That Beyond Meat, that Impossible Meat, the fake crap is still there.
I just want to show you a stock chart for Beyond Meat. I had a really good friend of mine at work who was so excited about it. He bought it somewhere around here and it was all the way up here and he was about to like mortgage his house to go buy more. And I'm like, well, you know, maybe take some profit. And then he didn't. And down here he's like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. Cut up here. He's about to go mortgage his house again. I'm like, maybe take some profit this time. He didn't do it. And then down here somewhere is when he finally sold. This is if Beyond Meat was actually a really good accepted substitute for real meat, the stock chart would not look like this. That's all I'm saying.
And the meat counter in the grocery store wouldn't look like the video. By the way, I took that video myself. That wasn't something we found on the internet. That was something I found in my own grocery store.
Not an AI.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Elemental P either. So here's a fun one for you here, because I this is the quick hit section. I know you guys love the quick hit section. And since we're bringing up videos of people that we love to hate,
there's more.
What happens when the other side has repeatedly and abundantly made clear they are not interested in playing by the rules?
By whose rules?
It's a problem. And when that happens, we fight for what we believe in. There are going to be times, potentially, when one side tries to stack the deck and lock in a permanent grip on power.
A permanent grip on power.
I mean, this guy, boy, he got so locked up there at the end. He's oh crap! I'm telling on myself.
Yeah. By the way, whose rules are we talking about? Your rules, the cabal's rules? Because the cabal's rules, you're right. It's about time the cabal is gone.
By the way, I'd love to play poker with this clown. I mean, holy cow! Right? I mean,
it was a tough one. It was a tough one for him.
Yeah, he didn't know what he was doing.
He's had a few tough ones lately, right? You know, telling the brothers if they don't vote the right way, they're not supporting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a fun one. You're gonna like this one. I love it. I'm sorry, I was cracking up. I had to watch it about 25 times. It's a 19-second video, but this is how France deals with these climate freaks.
Sur ma santé. On y va. Hop. Vous voyez, c'est pas trop collé, c'est du goudron. Ça colle pas, monsieur, c'est solide. Ah, maman! Ah! Ah! C'est super mal! Ah, t'es ouf! Ah!
Stop funny, stop laughing.
Arrêtez le cinéma, monsieur.
Yeah.
Sur ma santé. On y va.
Gotta see it again.
Hop. Vous voyez, c'est pas trop collé, c'est du goudron. Ça colle pas, monsieur, c'est solide. Ah, maman! Ah! Ah! Ah, c'est super mal! Ah, t'es ouf!
What did you think was going to happen?
Oh my God. It's not a soccer player. Oh man. And yeah, Marie had a comment about Barry.
Yeah.
He's still away already.
Yeah. Barry, Biden, Clinton, you know, all like it's time. Just go away already. Well,
I think that's about all of the quick hits that I had. If you have any more, Dave.
Well,
awesome. I loved ending on that soccer player. Climate activist.
I was gonna say, okay, this is a dumb one. All right, since I said it, I'll share it. It's a dumb one. I will freely admit that at a time. I say it's only dumb because it's not as funny as that last thing you just showed. Hold on. I've got to find it here now. I think I found it. Let's see what's going to show up. Oh yeah. If you're in North Korea, Kim Jong-un orders divorcing couples to labor camps. I'm just like, I know. Up to 6 months, and women potentially facing longer sentences. I don't understand the difference there, but yeah. So if you're in North Korea, like divorce is not an option.
Do you remember Do you remember our good friend Dr. Burks?
Dr. Burks.
Do you remember
Oh,
Dr.
yes.
Burks?
Another blast. I'm surprised.
This is Dr. Burks back in the day. Remember her? You guys remember Dr. Burks?
The
She always
screen-
had these different scarves. They were always designer scarves. She spent, somebody did. Every time she would come on, someone would say, "Oh my God, that's a $900." Whatever.
Very wealthy lady.
Yeah. So that was Dr. Burks then, but Dr. Burks has apparently made she's reemerged. You want to see the new Dr. Burks?
Let's do it. Your screen has a blue film of some sort on it. I don't know if you have to click off an image, but oh, it looks odd. Oh, it's me. It's not you. It's me. Okay, hold on a minute. She looks really different.
Yeah, the teeth are different. The face is different. I have videos of each of them. The mannerisms are completely different. She grew some eyebrow hair. I mean, there's a whole lot of differences here.
Wait, this is the same. This is not the same doctor. This is not the same person. But you're saying that they are saying this is the same person?
Yes, this is who they're bringing forward as Dr. Burks.
Minutes on that. That is ridiculous.
I do have videos of them, but I'd have to convert them real quick, and I don't have time for
Scarf
that.
lady. Scarf lady who needs a real dentist. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the real one, but the new one, she apparently is, she's wearing the scarf, she's saying all the same things, but I think they think people are going to forget. I don't know.
I'm just looking to see the face. Okay, we'll have to see because you got makeup. The camera does things now. AI for the video editing on the fly. It can soften your skin and give you some highlights in your hair. It does miracles for you.
I don't know. The audience at home, is that the same woman? Do you remember when they came out with on the 9/11 event and they arrested Hillary, and then they came out with this other Hillary that was supposed to be real, and she was waving at the crowds and everything.
Yes, and she was not Hillary. That was not Hillary.
Yeah, not even close to the same lady. I agree with you, Marie. Thank you. But that was fun. So I saw that today, and I was like, wait, that's not Dr. Burks. What happened?
No, that's not Dr. Burks. Okay, now I'm going to have to go spend a few minutes on that rabbit hole.
I've got videos. I'll send them to you later, David.
Okay. Last thing, you said we're going to come back to it. We didn't come back to it. But what do you have on Diddy /Epstein / it hasn't gone away. What do you have?
Yeah, let me just bring it up real quick. So it's pretty interesting, some of the things that I'm seeing now. I don't know. Did you see that LeBron James is saying he's leaving the United States?
Yep.
And this isn't one of the many, you see a bunch of tweets or X's or whatever what do you even call an X? You see all these things and they're saying, well, so-and-so is going to leave if Donald Trump is elected. Well, these are actually, people have quoted him, and there is one video out there. I didn't capture it because I hate LeBron. LeBron, I really do. Anyone who has to tell you how great he is kind of not worth my time. Where he famously said he was going to take his talents to South Beach. Anyway, I don't know. He's leaving, and I just have a question. Why is he leaving? He's got a great basketball career here. His son finally got to play on the same team as him. I don't understand why he would be leaving so soon.
He's leaving the Lakers. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, well, he's also leaving the country. So I'm going to go ahead and add this one, and we'll go ahead and listen to what they have to say about the Diddy.
Diddy, for instance. Let's take a look at him. Let's take a look at, he has videos. He has videos of the parties. Now, what I've heard, which I don't know how much of it is in mainstream media, I don't really follow the story that much, but what I've heard from friends that are attorneys, friends of mine that have represented me before, agents and so on, is there's a bidding war going on right now. They're driving that price up because if you want your client and your famous actor to not be involved, or famous singer to not come out, here's the price. And that they're just selling to the individuals that are in those. This is what I heard. They're selling those videos. So if you're Tommy X, and Tommy X is a big, big movie star, and he was at some of the Diddy parties, he was in one of those bedrooms with 3 other men, and he's happily married to a woman, and blah. Tommy doesn't want that video to come out. He does not want it to come out. Same thing for Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the the interesting thing about the Epstein and the theory about Epstein is we know he filmed people for sure on that island. He has a lot of movies, a lot of films of people that are very, very powerful political figures, and entertainers, business people. So do you really believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself? Of
course not.
Of course not. Yeah. Okay. So there's other theories that he's in Lebanon. He never died at all. That having the weight of owning those films right now over people. So will Donald Trump release those films? I believe Donald Trump probably has a lot of friends that are in those videos too. I don't know if it behooves him to release them either. But what happens if iconic African Americans or iconic Japanese Americans or iconic Anglo Americans, former presidents, so what happens if they're in those videos?
The plot thickens.
I don't think it matters if they're Anglo-African, whatever, but I think if you had former presidents in those videos, I think it's going to matter a lot. And I think that's why, and I think there's so many people that are in their elite status that if those things do come out and see the light of day and the world gets to see who those people are, what they've done, yeah, I think that hell rains down on earth for a bit.
I think it's going to be beautiful because I do think that they're going to come out. And the guy makes a point that I'd never really thought about before is what if some of Donald Trump's friends are on there? He may not be friends with them anymore, but he may protect them. I don't know. It will be interesting to see just who ends up coming out. I do know that there were two people that said, but I think both Elon Musk and who's the other guy? Both of these Kash Patel said that they were going to they were going to release both of those lists on day one.
Yep, I did.
Day one's only 23 days away.
Do it. Release that list and
days.
let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Make it happen.
There's a bit of a conversation happening in the chat, by the way.
I see that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pop this one up because I think this one makes the point. Push for term limits. Amen. Cap House members to 6 years, which is 3 terms. That's enough. Senators at 12 years, 2 terms, and then 73% of the 115th Congress would lose their seats. I agree. It's time. Turn the reins over to other people. There was never meant to be a career. It was meant to be you go there, you represent your community, your state for a period of time, and then you go back to your life and you hand it off to somebody else.
Roger once again makes a great point. He's not, nor would he ever be.
It's probably a really good bet. I'll bet
Pence I close. Pence. You say Pence is?
I bet Pence is not in those videos either.
I don't know. Those who protest loudest.
All right.
Listen, I was at work the other day, and I work in an area where the public comes in quite often, and I met a couple, and they may be watching tonight. If you are, welcome. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. But I was talking to them, and she was saying that she was an intern in Washington, D.C. for a state senator, and I won't even say the state because I'm out of respect for this person who I'm trying to get them to actually come on the show anonymously. Which might be pretty interesting. But anyway, I made the comment. I said, I watched one of those 60-minute type, news programs once, and they were interviewing the pharmacist at the Capitol. And he was talking about the type of drugs that he was prescribing. And it was unbelievable. Tons of psychotropic drugs, tons of dementia meds. I mean, it was all over the place. And she said, yeah, I can't even go there, but I can tell you that I ran into a lot of those people where in the middle of a calm meeting, a normal, very calm discussion, they break out and screaming about something that is completely non sequitur. So let's get rid of them all, please. Can we just start over?
Yeah, drain the actual swamp this time around. And I agree. Let the chips. Where's the comment? Let the bricks fall where they may. Release the tapes. I agree.
I'm with you, Roger.
It's just time.
I'm with you. Hey, fun show. It's fun getting back in the seat in the bunker here. Sorry that we were gone so long, folks. We're really glad that you were here. For those of you that are still here, could you do us a favor and hit that thumbs up? It really helps the channel a lot. It helps folks find us. And if you just give us that old thumbs up, and if you want to leave a comment, that's always awesome too, even if it's just, hey, Happy New Year, whatever it is. We will not be here on Wednesday night. I may replay the inaugural speech, Donald Trump's inaugural speech, because that's one of my favorites. I don't really expect many of you to be hanging out watching the show, but if you do, it'll be there. Hope you guys have a fantastic and safe New Year's Eve. Celebrate with people that you truly care about, and don't overdo it, because the next morning we'll be here.
That's so profound. That's true. I actually work on the 2nd, so that's profound but true. All right, Mr. John, that was a lot of fun tonight. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you a week from tonight.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. God bless each and every one of you. And we're going to go out the way we've been going out recently, because we all happen to love this ending.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered at the opportunities before us?
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we, the people, choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing.
Don't you want healthy children? Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
I come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
American rock and roll.